guys, thank you for tuning in to a new video. Alright, so in the spirit of the holiday season, I have literally updated my breaking nails. I'll be doing like a cute little like short session, like kind of do like a brief kind of like color freaking like below of it. Then I might add like a tad bit of more green, but one of the green colors that I have with a bit of like the kind of like sparkly flow. And really crave the Christmas flow with that. I hope everybody's having an amazing holiday season so far. Without further ado, let's cover some freaking insider trading law news. Alright, so let's see. I kind of have a bit of a kind of medium set amount of info to cover for this one. With the basis being kind of set towards like the breakdown, as we will go through the explanation of insider trading, examples, parameters, let's see, different aspects of it, and we'll kind of conclude that with more in-depth examples. Alright, so yes. Insider trading is a buying or selling of a company's securities by individuals who possess material, non-public information about that company. Insider trading, the practice of buying or selling a company's securities based on material, non-public information, has long been a contentious issue in financial markets. Insider trading laws prohibit individuals from using non-public information about a company to trade securities for personal gain. Alright, so in the next portion we are going to touch base on the definitions, examples, and parameters of insider trading. Insider trading is defined as trading which occurs when someone with access to material, non-public information about a company uses that information to trade securities. So in doing so, you are using information that you have gained while working within a company to kind of use the intel to, let's say, create like a guided plan for what you want to do with your securities that you have that pertain towards a company. And then in doing so, the major basis that's like so freaking like the mega no-no factor pertaining towards it often pertains towards the aspect of sharing this information with others or using the information that you have gained while working within the company to determine if you want to literally sell up a mega freaking portion of your securities or buy a freaking mega portion of securities, divest from one company and then invest in another that's like working within the same industry, and then in doing so it's kind of just like, well, these are mega freaking no-no factors that have to be freaking overall avoided. Examples, so these are going to be the first set of examples that are going to include breakdowns for insider trading that can be conducted pertaining towards securities, and later we'll cover examples pertaining towards cases in which insider trading has taken place and the aspects of it that made them such major cases. So examples of insider trading include a CEO selling shares after learning of an impending financial loss, an insider sharing confidential information with another person who then trades on that information. So in doing so, as I said before, as stated before, when another person shares confidential information, that information can influence the buying and selling of securities and can literally cover that major aspect of not following the laws and regulations that protect everyone within the country from insider trading practices, the freaking sharing of confidential information within an organization that can stifle it overall, and then in doing so hinder a company. A lot of companies are like hit by major financial losses. The information that's shared can pertain towards a possible dip that could take place, new product freaking announcements that could impact the freaking stock projections, and so much more information, which is kind of why a lot of companies work towards having announcements set more towards, that time period of either the actual launch of the product or, let's see, oh gosh. Let's see, for pre-announcement sets, it's typically during the non-demo phase as the product has been completed. The prototype phase has also been freaking passed, and the only aspects after include marketing strategies, and then in doing so, there's time to now promote the new products. That way, it's ready to go, and possible freaking backlash can be avoided. That way, we can avoid freaking companies taking major hits from just aspects such as freaking prototypes that aren't freaking fully ready to go, products that have defects that we found during the freaking development phases. With all the new technology that we're working to implement, we always have to work through ensuring that it's going to be ready to withstand what we are marketing it to the public to be able to do. And then in doing so, we have to really work towards ensuring that the product is going to be able to just really live up to par. And with a lot of products, we're able to bring ace it to the T, but there are still those moments, such as, I believe it was one of the Galaxy Notes that had a freaking like major battery problem where it was like kind of one of those situations that a lot of people were like, oh gosh, like, it's not a bad phone to get. And I was like, no, it's not overall a bad phone to get, but that model of the phone did have that major flaw in it that a lot of people were super worried about. They were like, if I leave my phone on the charger at night, am I gonna have to worry about my phone literally like blowing up on me? Like, is there something that I have to be leery of? And then it really just caused a reflection point. And see, there was the hoverboard craze a few years ago, and everybody was like, I want a freaking hoverboard. They were super freaking fun and nifty, but there were a lot of freaking accidents where people were like in the midst of charging their hoverboards, and their freaking hoverboards literally like were exploding during the middle of the freaking night. And it was like, well, if I get a hoverboard, is it going to like literally freaking explode on me, or is it just like, did they get like a bad hoverboard? Were there just like, was there a problem with the battery? Was it overcharged? Or was it like a technical glitch? And it kind of like caused a lot of people to be leery of like the product overall. So we kind of have to work towards all of the freaking like possible freaking moments of product developments with freaking iPhones. It's been a major thing with the freaking components of, having, I know I've like having, let's see, any freaking part of the iPhone replaced. It's like it has to be literally brought to a specialized Apple store to be like fixed 9 times out of 10, which was the original like preconceived notion that if you have anything that happens to your iPhone, in order to, number one, not void your freaking warranty, you have to have it brought to a freaking like Apple specialist. And then the second aspect pertained towards, will the repairman be able to fix my phone? Like, can they fix an iPhone without it kind of like going, this, like, even when you plug a charger into your iPhone, you get the freaking message that pops up, and it's like, if the accessory that you were attempting to use is not like an official Apple product, you must like freaking like insert the product to use it. And then it's like kind of just super weird. Like, I have a charger for my iPhone, and it's like a 6-foot charging cord, and then it typically like literally always works, but there's like that occasional hiccup, I would say like every few months or so, where I literally like plug the charger into the phone, and then the hiccup pops up, and it's like, Um, this accessory, I believe it's like stated it's not an Apple product, so you must like unlock the phone and then reinsert the accessory, and then it's like, well, that's super freaking weird that it like would have that freaking glitch, but it's one of those things that was like added through the development phases with the product. So it's kind of just that freaking trial and error flow of like, working to. Oh, and then the major aspect that pertain towards the Apple products, pertaining towards aspects such as, stating that phones would be like more resistant to water, let's see, more resistant to freaking cracks and dents, and there were a lot of moments where people were putting their iPhone in their back pocket and their phones were literally bending. And then for a lot of these ringing moments, Apple users and Samsung users went through like the exact same freaking flaws as the phones have been developing throughout the years. I have my little iPhone and one of my my iPhone and my Samsung, and then I'm recording on my other Samsung. But there are just a bunch of just cool freaking notions towards the development over the years that have really helped to improve the product. So working to replace the rigging like complete like shatterproof screen breakdown with break and damage resistant, dust resistant, working to improve these parameters, water resistance, as opposed to stating that a phone is like literally like gonna be waterproof. A lot of people had the freaking major backlash, which was shown by people being able to actually test the products and, refer other people to the product based off of the ability to like literally perfect this freaking aspect of it. In doing so, we were like, oh my gosh, is it really waterproof? And then it's like testing the products out, and it's like, well, they're waterproof up to like a set freaking like, let's see, up to a set point for a lot of devices. So for a lot of devices, it's always been the safer notion to like grab like a freaking life-proof case for your phone. That way it can withstand the freaking weathering of time and avoid freaking water damage, moisture, freaking exposure, scratches, and so many other aspects, because they're just super freaking amazing. Like I have a life-proof case on my phone that I'm currently recording on, and it's my freaking vape. Whenever I grab a new phone, I always get a life-proof case. When I originally got my freaking I believe this was my A55 5G, or A54 5G, or was this my 32? I think this was my A32 5G when it like initially first launched. And when I got the first one, I was like super freaking stoked. I was like, okay, so my phone that I had before, it was like the A15, and it had the freaking like touch sensor right there. And I was like, okay, with this one, it's going to be like a freaking complete freaking shoved. I have like my 3 freaking cameras on the. No, actually, I have 4. I had 4 freaking cameras on this one. And my fingerprint sensor wasn't on the side of the phone as opposed to being on the front of the phone. And I was like super excited and stoked. And I was like, I'm gonna have to grab so many fun freaking accessories. And I think within like a few, like maybe like a week or so of me having the freaking phone, it like literally dropped when I was at work. I set it on top of one of the paper dispensers, and my freaking phone literally, it was like one of the leveled ones, so I was like, it should be fine up there. And in the midst, it literally just kind of like slid forward due to it being like super freaking they're like super chic, but they have no grip. Like there are like no like divots to like really grip onto anything, so it literally just kind of just slid forward and then fell off of the paper holder. And I was like, oh my gosh, no! And I was like, it should be fine. And the major problem that followed after was I believe it was like the power button no longer worked, so turning the screen on and off, resetting the like phone, and then controlling like with the volume functions were like a bit glitched also. So I had to literally like return the freaking phone. Well, actually, I had literally I got a freaking new one, and since I literally just got the phone, it was like, okay, so bing bang boom, and then literally like bring this one in, grab a new one, and then freaking just restore the freaking backup data. And I was just like, no. But moving forward, I was like, I will literally always lightproof case my phone out that way, on top of being able to withstand major falls, because I tend to freaking like drop my phone. I tend to freaking have moments when I like literally just freaking like see if I place it somewhere and it freaking slides and falls. I always freaking worry about that. Um, Literally reaching to like place your phone somewhere and then it just like kind of like falls like that. These are like major freaking worry moments for me. So I've always kind of gone with Samsung phones that have the freaking super strong, durable like phone screen and body structures. That way they're able to withstand the test of time and the freaking the downsides of literally being dropped a lot. And with my freaking iPhones, they're always my freaking babies that I'm like, I always have to just keep these ones like just super safe, because I have always had the major downside of dropping my freaking iPhones and then literally shattering the freaking screens. And then it's just like, there are like two freaking aspects that freaking follow after. You either have to like grab a freaking new one after, or you have to freaking have the screen repaired, and then it's like, oh gosh, well, I would say grabbing like a freaking used model, if you're paying for the screen repairs out of pocket, can like typically freaking cost you like around the same freaking rate as for like paying for the freaking new screen to be installed, the freaking like additional fees that'll be added. It's like, oh gosh, I could literally just go buy like a used freaking model of this freaking phone. Now that like it's literally when you search for freaking used freaking models of like iPhones, you can literally typically get them for like a regular freaking rate that iPhones were typically sold for. So it's like one of the biggest freaking shockers ever. But it's like, so do I want to freaking like literally grab a new one, or do I want to freaking have the screen repaired? And it's like, oh, the tediousness. It's best to literally just keep those safe. And then with Samsung phones, it's always great to be mindful that even though they are extremely freaking strong and durable, you still don't want to like literally have your phone literally dropped from high heights, because there's still that added factor of the interior damage that can take place. Alright, so you guys, so reconnecting with the aspects of examples. A broker analyst using advanced knowledge of a pending order to trade for their own account before filing client's orders. So a broker or an analyst using advanced knowledge pertaining towards securities currently being traded, the aspects of trading like a major freaking set of securities, and then using the information that they have gained by trading whilst trading someone else's securities is another aspect that's kind of added into the insider trading portion. You can set the notion to literally trade like a freaking as being a broker, your freaking responsibility will be to handle the transactions and trades set by another. And in doing so, you are handling a major transaction that's going to give you the information necessary to understand if a stock will be set to, in most cases, kind of like improve a decent portion due to the set amount of securities that will be purchased. So, in comparing it to, let's say, like a day-to-day brokerage freaking breakdown, you will be handling securities and transactions by a lot of people that freaking work throughout the freaking stock and brokerage investing parameter side. But the overall thing to really be mindful of is the basis of understanding if a securities purchase is set to be a major investment, and in using that information, you're kind of, well, let's kind of like backtrace a bit. You're not able to use that information to influence your future investments into stocks because you are now using the information that you have gained while at work and working with securities that it's already been set within our freaking like legal parameters to prevail yourself forward with information that honestly is kind of more said to be handled with a grain of salt. You are to adhere to the standards of your career, and in doing so, you have to really be mindful of the promise that you make to the people. You are making the promise that you are going into this job as a broker to be a broker that is going to represent the best interests of your clients, and in doing so, you can't go into the job and then going to go for representing the best interests of the clients and then kind of just be like a freaking like double agent freaking spy and go, actually, this goes beyond me being a freaking broker. I actually came here to gain some information to make myself a freaking like bazillionaire. And then it's like, that's the freaking aspect of what shouldn't be done, something that falls out of the parameters of the laws and regulations that we've already set forward. Prohibition standards are as follows. The SEC Rules 10b-5 prohibits corporate officers and directors from using confidential corporate information to trade in the company's stock. So this rule sets the parameters for corporate officers and directors to not use the confidential information that they gain, or should I say, the information that is acquired through meetings, decisions made amongst corporate directors, stock members, throughout our advisors' meetings, and so many other parameters. The information can be used to influence your future stock decision. So in doing so, we kind of work to be mindful of not focusing on the aspects outside of us working as corporate partners throughout the business and stockholders and investors. So in doing so, you should always work towards following really what you kind of want to do as an investor and following your freaking dream aspects of, what companies do you want to freaking invest in? What literally drives you? What have you done research on? And then two, that literally will influence you to literally want to freaking partner with these companies, what aspect of, what they're offering, and so many other freaking key crucial aspects. Such as, even prices of stocks and the freaking fluctuation. If you want to follow that and literally, find what stocks you're like, okay, that one seems like a good one. It's something that I'm interested in. And the freaking price range is literally feasible. I can literally become an investor within this freaking stock, and then go, this one will hopefully be set to grow, and then if not, it's still an interesting enough stock that I'm willing to place faith within, while also working to freaking partner with other companies, acquire stocks and securities with those other companies also, which is just, it's interesting, it's super freaking fun in itself, and it's something that kind of makes our nation and the world so freaking interesting because everybody has a chance to become a partner throughout the freaking flow of our corporate world as it continues to develop. Tipping of confidential corporate information to third parties is also a prohibited freaking aspect. So tipping others to confidential corporate info such as, meetings, product announcements, again, as stated, major backlash that could be expected, let's see, aspects such as, let's see, so we've covered freaking product backlash, company backlash, major voting, corporate freaking members stepping down. Let's see. I would, I would add in like controversial corporate freaking top picks for freaking company freaking leads. However, with us literally voting as towards who will be the leaders of the like companies and corporations, is kind of something that we can't actually freaking literally expect to be like something that will not fall within the parameters of, well, I mean, we kind of are really voting and working towards this person being the leader of our companies, so we kind of can't really like, go no freaking thanks after we've literally voted them in to the freaking backlash of the freaking public pertaining towards the inner workings of our company. But yeah, I believe those other the other substandards really do cover what typically takes place day to day, and which is like kind of the major pertaining towards aspects such as backlash and let's see, aspects such as corporate freaking meetings and the possible decisions to be made for the next like fiscal year. Plans for development throughout the year overall. So, yeah. Liability standards. Individuals who violate insider trading laws may be liable for disgorging ill-gotten gains or avoided losses. Let's see. So, oftentimes, many can be fined to literally pay compensatory fees, penalties for insider trading. One of the major freaking downsides is up to 20 years in prison. So definitely freaking avoid insider trading. Like it's a freaking definite like, let's not do that kind of thing. Liability standards are as follows. Individuals who violate insider trading laws may be liable for monitoring. Sorry, guys. The SEC monitors illegal insider trading by looking at trading values. So, the Securities Exchange Commission, the SEC, works towards monitoring securities and the major freaking aspect of high trading volumes to ensure that there is no insider trading taking place, that there is no freaking major moment where somebody is like, I've gotten this freaking great insight, so using this freaking insight that I've gained, I will now freaking sell a major freaking set of securities. And in doing so, it's like, oh my freaking gosh, where do they get this information? Why are they selling like hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of freaking stock within this freaking company? And what are their plans following this? It's a moment where they're literally hoping to literally like dodge freaking backlash. Are they like expecting to freaking jump ahead of a freaking stock divot, or are they literally just like planning to do a freaking normal sell? And in a lot of freaking cases, it's more geared towards the aspect of literal insider trading, which is just super cray in itself. Legal insider trading parameters are as follows. Insiders are legally permitted to buy and sell shares, but the transactions must be registered with the SEC. So again, the Securities and Exchange Commission is going to set the standard for the permittance of legally traded securities. And as stated before, you can literally buy and sell as many shares within a company as you'd like. However, it must be something that you are doing based off of your own needs and wants, as opposed to an aspect of something that you were doing based off of the information that you were presented, pertaining towards possible like downsides of the company's development, or let's see, major hits that it could possibly take that you are worried could freaking hurt your stock amounts that you have invested within the company. And then for a lot of people, crazily amount of the companies have been able to recover. It's like, well, gosh, what about all that money that you literally could have still had sitting on the table if you had left your stocks within that company? Like, imagine if the freaking major notion as towards being like companies such as let's see, Amazon, Walmart, Facebook, there's so many other freaking major companies that have literally just become freaking amazing over the freaking years that we use day to day, or should I say, meta. And it's just like, imagine like reflecting on those and thinking back to, the early stages when their stocks are freaking like super freaking cheap, and when their stocks like, hit the freaking scene and they were set at this like, well, let's see, as to their current levels, I would say it's still kind of like cheap. Um, Imagine just, literally investing within those that, and then realizing that, you sold your freaking stocks, or should I say the reference point literally is more geared towards that being the aspect of something that's commonly stated, and reflecting upon that later and going, I could have been a freaking millionaire if I had invested in companies such as Amazon and freaking like Meta years ago during the early development stages. And now that it's like the freaking future, I'm like, oh my freaking gosh, I should have definitely invested in those freaking companies. And it's still one of the fun aspects to date, because there's still major companies that can still be invested within, that you can still to this day, to date, literally watch the companies continue to freaking bring in the freaking added revenue. But it's all a set freaking facet of information and assets to be observed, and then in doing so, you kind of can set yourself to kind of make educated guesses and make investments that are more geared towards what you truly want to like follow and see, be a part of overall. The primary law enforcement agencies responsible for insider trading are the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC), the U.S. Department of Justice (DOJ), and the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, the CFTC. The United States Secret, the United States Secret Service, the USSS, also has jurisdiction over insider trading cases involving government officials or employees. Insider trading occurs when someone with access to non-public information about a company uses that knowledge to trade securities. Here's some examples of insider trading, and these are going to cover those major aspects, such as stated before, tipping, buying major shares before an announcement, and so many other aspects. Our initial one we're going to start with, and kind of touch base upon again, is going to be tipping. An insider shares confidential information with someone who then trades on that information, but the insider and the person who receives the information are liable. Misappropriation. Someone who isn't a traditional insider, like a consultant or lawyer, obtains confidential information through their work and uses it to trade. Alright, so let's see. Non-traditional traders obtaining information through their work. So let's say, as stated in this example, consultants or lawyers using the information that is gained by working with their clients. Say, in case of a lawyer working with a client to literally cover the aspects of a case and gaining the information pertaining towards possible freaking dividends within the company that you were working to represent a member of, can kind of influence you to kind of go, I might want to divest from this company. Like, as somebody who works as a freaking corporate freaking law firm that works to literally cover a freaking company and most of their members do legal proceedings and to help with freaking just any freaking major aspect pertaining towards that company, gaining any aspect during a case and using that to influence your stock investment and divestment. It's something that is also frowned upon and falls within the parameters of misappropriation. Front running, a broker or analyst uses advanced knowledge of an order to trade for themselves before filing client orders. So it's stated before, maybe touch base a bit upon that one, prohibitions. Yeah, and in the examples of insider trading, a broker or analyst using the advanced knowledge of the set trade to literally influence their, purchase or sell of securities within a corporation. Let's see. Oh, and then in this example, it pertains to reducing the information that was going to be used in filing the client's orders to instead make a major order for themselves and then proceed with the filing of the client's orders as to use the information gained from that situation to typically make the purchase of securities beforehand, but it would still fall within the parameters of using the information gained from the client's order to influence your buying or selling of major securities. Buying shares before a major announcement. An insider buys shares in their company before a major announcement, like a joint venture or takeover that they expect will increase the share price. So, doing like a freaking a major share purchase freaking side, it's kind of just one of those things that's like kind of geared towards what influenced you to do so, and then in using the information that you gained while working with the corporation or the company, you kind of have to be mindful of, let's see, how the information is acquired and how you will be using the information. Will you be using the information to make informed choices while working with the company or the corporation, or will you be using the information to do something that falls within the parameters of an insider trading freaking practice that is frowned upon? And then in doing so, you have to be mindful of the aspects that should not follow as you are working to reflect the freaking laws of the land overall, and in doing so, you also be reminded of aspects such as, potential penalties, because things like insider trading can always be freaking avoided because there are the freaking major breaking aspects of it being something that you were set to do to kind of like follow your overall like goals, dreams, and to follow the aspects of, the belief, the trust, so many other freaking cool, mega freaking fun aspects that you share for freaking companies and corporations throughout our nation. So in doing so, should I say throughout our nation and around the world, and in doing so, it's kind of just like, you have to be mindful that using the information that you gain while working for a company or corporation to influence your freaking share purchases is not something that's like to be done. Selling shares before a negative event. An insider sells shares after learning of a negative event, like an impending financial loss or lawsuit, before the information is made public. So So this one kind of is a aspect that falls within the parameters of like the major announcement side and as the aspect of backlash. So I've stated before, a lot of major freaking aspects that can influence the freaking sell of major shares pertains towards backlash that could be a potential factor within the future due to new product releases, corporate freaking let's see, corporate elections, different stances, and so many other aspects such as let's see, potential freaking now we'll put that within the same category as like backlash. I would say product freaking potential defects, but again, that's going to fall within the same parameter as backlash overall. And using those aspects to influence your selling of shares. Examples that also were included within the breakdown include impending financial losses of the organization or corporation, lawsuits, and again, parameters set within the backlash category that would be perceived as a negative event and influence the sell of shares of a corporation. Should I say IPO overall to cover the major standard of publicly traded corporations, or should I say publicly traded securities. And then as a corporate L.L.C owner, I actually have shares that are, let's see, privately owned. So my corporation is a privately owned corporation. So, and it's not publicly traded. I kind of, it's like, I don't know if I really want to like offer the shares to the public because initially I was working on launching the corporation as a corporation as opposed to a shop. And I was like, this is like year 2 of development, and we are going to start our corporate phase, and I don't want to fully go like IPO mode with it and literally have the added aspect of the freaking stock freaking votes, the stock share ownership pertaining towards my freaking corporate baby as I work to freaking develop it. And I'm so glad that I did. It's literally been one of the freaking cool aspects as a freaking securities lover. Prior to that, it's been super cool to like literally be able to see an aspect such as that while working towards making my company a limited liability corporation. I was like, there's no freaking way that there's the freaking offer and freaking working through the paperwork of filing my corporation. The freaking added freaking cool bonus is, do you want to launch this as a freaking IPO? And then in doing so, how many shares do you want to offer? And I was like, oh my gosh. And then it was like, so do you want to bring an offer shares to the public, or do you want to do you want to be like the sole owner of it? And then for the shares that are available that you can share between you, yourself, or a like partner within your corporation, how many shares will be divided between each of you guys? And I was like, what? That's so freaking cool. These are the aspects that I've like read about as I freaking have studied over the years, and then just seeing it during this freaking part of the process. What should I say during that part of the seeing it during that freaking part of the process, and then like this part of the freaking process as it freaking took place is just super freaking amazing in itself. So just kind of being mindful that there's so freaking much. And being a part of a freaking like publicly traded corporation, using the information that you gain is always something that should be taken with a grain of salt and not used to influence your buying or selling of investments. aspects that can cause backlash, and it's just definitely not freaking worth it. Again, you guys, the freaking horrible aspect of up to 20 years in prison is a freaking like definite freaking no-go. So always go, do I really want to freaking do like a freaking insider trading scandal type of thing and then potentially freaking end up in prison for like 20 freaking years? No freaking way. Alright, you guys, so we are nearly at the 50-minute mark. Let's see, nearly at the end of this breakdown. I believe we'll probably freaking finish. So we've got the example basis. We'll kind of just end up doing like it's going to be like a bit of like a story time read through as to the stories that took place. The next like subsection before the official story time breakdown is added. It's literally like a short overview of a few of the cases that I mentioned, and then I did more research into those to cover the case examples a bit more. So I would say we can probably finish this one in like around like an hour and like 20 minutes ish, or maybe less. But I'm gonna ballpark it that way. There's that like wiggle room of it. Let's see. Some well-known examples of insider trading include Martha Stewart's case. Stewart sold her shares in ImClone after receiving a tip that the FDA was likely to reject the company's cancer treatment. So, a potential backlash freaking statement that would be made public, and the downside of the FDA kind of like condemning the freaking new cancer treatment due to it not following the regulations or being deemed as like unsafe. It kind of led to the freaking sell of like major shares within a corporation, and a major star, Martha Stewart, was involved within the scandal, and with her being involved within the scandal, it kind of added to the aspect of the focus drawn towards the case. So rather than it being a case where it's like major aspect took place, but most people really were like, I would be more used as a reference point for people like me that love to freaking study the laws, and people like you guys that are like literally staying up to date on those, other students, my fellow students out there that are watching this, everyone else, to like really just kind of like reflect upon this aspect. But it's kind of just the notion of it being something that will be more of a placeholder for the overall case. So will it be something that's like setting that mindset of, I kind of like can reference towards this case to understand these standards and procedures that are taking place? Or will it be something that I can do that while also having a reference point? And with it being a mega celebrity like Martha Stewart, it kind of set that standard for freaking being that basis of like Martha Stewart is that freaking like reference point, and with Martha Stewart being that reference point, it also helps to set the basis for understanding it when it's referenced towards an insider trading cases, and this will give you that basis for understanding what actually took place during that case. And I will actually touch base a tad more upon it in just a few. Ivan Bolsky was involved in a major insider trading scandal in the 1980s, and I'm going to provide a tad more information towards that one in a bit. That one had a brief freaking overview, and I was like, oh my freaking gosh, I'm going to definitely have to do like research on that one. I was like, with the Martha Stewart like case, I was like, okay, so each of them literally covers like the main basis of it, and like a brief summary, even though it's like a freaking sentence, it covers like a freaking decent portion of the scope of it. I was like, it should be like, a great closing point with the Ivan Boesky case. I was like, no, number one, I'm gonna need like a tad more information pertaining towards that, and I was like, number two, for my freaking viewers that are watching this and looking at games to bring in legal insight, understand examples of these cases, and to just really understand the parameters of insider trading, I'm going to add that in there to literally just add that freaking aspect of what was the case of Ivan Boesky and how does it fall within the parameter of insider trading scandals. In doing a tad bit of research into that case, actually was able to pull up more on the Martha Stewart story. And with me freaking being a freaking like fellow entertainment lover, I was like, oh my gosh, Martha Stewart, you are a case that I really don't want to freaking like add to this one. I literally like try to avoid doing like the overall research. I'm like, oh my gosh, don't freaking like be like something that's just like too horrible that I'm just like, I wish I didn't read any info pertaining towards that. And then I was like, okay, well, it's kind of just, it fell within the expected parameter, which was freaking great for me, where it's literally covering the legal topic. So you guys just kind of bear with me as I get to that point and be mindful. It's not going to be something that's going to literally throw you off where you're like, oh my gosh, it's a story about Martha Stewart, guys. Well, let's not even freaking go there. It's like, no, it's just going to be the insight covering the standards of insider trading. So don't worry. R. Foster Winans was a Wall Street Journal columnist who leaked information from its column to stockbrokers. And I believe I covered a tad bit of that also. Yeah, okay. So everyone is added, and we also have, and this is going to start our storytime section of their actual backstories and the examples that fell within the parameters of insider trading. And we are starting with the one that kind of wasn't added into that breakdown. This was one that was super interesting though, and it was one of the first ones referenced while I was doing a tad bit of research into the Ivan Boesky case. So Albert H. Wiggin, and then did we touch base a bit upon? Oh no. So that was Ivan Boesky. After the Wall Street crash in 1929, it was revealed that Albert H. Wiggin, the respected head of Chase National Bank, had shorted more than 40,000 shares of his own company. Using companies that were owned by his family to hide the trades, Wiggin built up a position that actually gave him a vested interest in running his company into the ground. At the time, oh my gosh, I'm not sure if that's like a package delivery. Or it might be our freaking like garbage things that like literally pop up routinely. I'm surprised our freaking landscape crew isn't doing a freaking like random freaking sweep at the moment to make sure that everything is like up to par before the freaking like weekend freaking starts. We typically like literally are like on it like this like all the time. They're like freaking amazing. Alright, so let's I'm gonna restate the beginning of that paragraph and then make sure that everything is like covered and stated again. That way you guys can like hear, and then we can also reference back towards any points that may like up in this during like the continuation of the reading. Using companies that were owned by his family to hide the trades, definitely the freaking garbage dumped in. Wiggin built up a position that actually gave him a vested interest in running his company into the ground. At the time, there were no specific rules against short selling stocks of your own company. So in the aftermath of the 1929 crash, when many different investors exited their positions of Chase National Bank stock at the same time, Wiggin legally made over $4 million. In addition to the profits he made from the short selling of his own company stock, Wiggin had also accepted a pension of $100,000 a year for life from the bank. He later declined the pension as a result of protests from the public and the media outcry. Wiggin was not the only corrupt actor during this time. The Securities and Exchange Act of 1934 was passed in part as a response to the widespread corruption that was revealed in the aftermath of the crash. It was intended to increase transparency in the financial market and decrease incidents of fraud or manipulation. In fact, it has been said the drafters of the Act nicknamed Section 16, which addresses various regulations that attempt to prevent and prosecute incidents of insider trading, the anti-Wiccan section. Ivan Boesky was an American stock trader who became infamous for his role in the insider trading scandal during the 1980s. This scandal also involved several other corporate officers employed by major U.S. investment banks, and then this one is kind of like a similar case as towards Albert Wiggins and the major investors within a major bank branch. Let's see. So, investment banks who were providing Boesky with tips about upcoming corporate takeovers. Boesky had his own stock brokerage company, Ivan F. Boesky and Company. And starting in 1975, when he opened his firm, he made vast amounts of money speculating on corporate takeovers. In 1987, after a group of Boesky's corporate partners sued Boesky for misleading legal agreements detailing their partnership, the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) began investigating Boesky. It was later revealed that he was making his investment decision based on information received from corporate insiders. Let's see. These included Michael Milken, the Wall Street junk bond king, and the investment firm Drexel Burnham Lambert. Both the firm and Milken also became the subject of SEC investigations. So this was kind of like a major freaking scandal that involved some mega freaking party members. Let's see. That's kind of set the basis for the major security scandal that took place pertaining towards the investment and divestment within the banking branch and his brokerage company. And they used the information gained from one to influence the actions made through the other. Let's see. Okay, so the corporate insiders, as stated, Michael Milken, the Wall Street junk bond king, and the investment firm Drexel Burnham Lambert provided the information that influenced Ivan F. Boesky's decisions to buy and sell securities. Boesky ended up, let's see, I'm not sure. Okay, yeah, so this scandal did involve stated other corporate officers that were employed by major U.S. investment banks and so many other key components that influenced Boesky's decisions to invest and divest within major corporations, and for the brokerage decisions to be made through Ivan's company, and the information was set to benefit each throughout the process. Overall, the backlash of it was freaking crack. But let's conclude this one a tad more. Boesky ended up cooperating with the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) and became an informant, providing information to the SEC, which eventually led to the case against Milken. Boesky was convicted of insider trading in 1986. He received a prison sentence of 3.5 years and was fined $100 million. Although he was released after only 2 years, Boesky was permanently banned from working with securities by the SEC. He died at 87 on May 20th, 2024. It's great. As stated before, you can face prison time. L.L.C was given a prison sentence of 3.5 years, but a lot of people typically get a lot more time than that. He was fined $100 million freaking dollars, you guys. So imagine your freaking major freaking sales and freaking money obtained while freaking trading these securities is not only seized and freaking frozen and then retained due to the insider trading practices. But imagine also having to pay like $100 million after and then recovering post 3.5 freaking years in prison. Like it's the freaking major aspect and notion that we try to warn everyone to always be mindful of when making any type of freaking decision that could affect your freaking life like that. So don't do anything that could freaking lead to prison time because you will not get back that time to literally recruit from your freaking losses during that time period. And then with moments such as that where there be freaking there's like there will be freaking fines to be freaking paid after, just so many other aspects. It takes away from the pursuit of happiness overall. And luckily, guys, he lived a long life. So I mean, there was that freaking aspect of something freaking great out of it. He lived to nearly be 90. He passed a few months ago in May. Let's just say the insider trading scandal never really became a prevalent factor within his life again, so it wasn't an aspect in which hindered him later in life. It was kind of more so geared towards should I say, finishing off the situation which took place within the past. R. Foster Winnian. R. Foster Winnian was a columnist at the Wall Street Journal who wrote a column called Herald on the Street. In every column, he would profile a certain stock, and that stock featured in the column often went up or down according to Winnian's opinion. Winnian's arranged a deal where he leaked the contents of his column, specifically the stocks that he believed would be going up, in detail to a group of stockholders. To a group of stockbrokers. The stockbrokers would then purchase positions in the stock before the column was set to be published. After the brokers were able to make their own profits, they allegedly gave some of their gains to Winnian in return for his intelligence. So in doing so, they were paying him for the information being leaked. Winnian's was eventually caught by the SEC. His case was tricky because the column contained his personal opinions rather than material information inside. And then this was going to be the part that kind of like loops all around as to why they would pay for information provided within his column if they were set to cover the basis of his personal opinions. Why would his personal opinions influencing their freaking major freaking investments that happen to pay off be this major aspect that sets the freaking basis for an insider trading scandal? However, the SEC eventually convicted Winnian based on the claim that the information about the stocks contained in the column belonged to the Wall Street Journal and not to Winnian himself. So Winnian utilized the information provided through the Wall Street Journal to influence the basis of his set opinions that influenced the stock sales and purchases by many who viewed the column as a kind of tip as to the insider insight as to what companies to buy and what companies to divest from just in time to avoid financial losses and to gain so much while striking during the perfect time frame. major. Let's freaking buy. Martha Stewart and I'm Clown. In December 2001, the Food and Drug Administration (FDA) announced that it would not approve a new cancer drug called Erbitux from the pharmaceutical company I'm Clown. Because it was expected that the drug would be approved, it represented a major portion of I'm Clone's future plan for growth. As a result, the company's stock dropped rapidly. While many investors experienced losses as a result of the drop, family and friends of Erbitux CEO Samuel Wexall were unharmed. The SEC later discovered that prior to the announcement of the FDA's decision, numerous executives had sold their stock based on the instructions of Wexall, who had also attempted to sell his own stock. In fact, just days before the announcement, the American retail businessperson Martha Stewart had sold around 4,000 shares of the company. At this time, the stock was still trading at a high level, and Stewart made nearly $250,000 on the sale. After the announcement, the stock price dropped sharply over the following months. Stewart claimed to have a pre-existing sell order with her broker, but she was convicted of insider trading for having sold her company after receiving a tip that I'm Clone stock was likely going to drop. Stewart eventually resigned as the CEO of her company. Martha Stewart, living Omni Media Waxall, was arrested and sentenced to more than 7 years in prison and fined more than $5 million in penalties. In 2004, Stewart and her broker were also found guilty of insider trading. Stewart was sentenced to a minimum of 5 months in prison and fined $30,000. So as you guys can see, the freaking set basis behind a lot of these major insider trading cases are a lot more freaking extensive than expected. In Martha Stewart's case, it was kind of a case where you expect it to be more so geared towards, maybe there was like this freaking moment where it was like, was there like this freaking major cooking product or this major freaking, clothing freaking like partnership that Martha Stewart was like a part of. They're like this advertising thing, because you would expect as a freaking public figure and a public figure and entertainer, and a chef, that it would be something that would fall within those categories. But then it's like, no, you have to literally freaking, understand the aspects of what everybody freaking dabbles in, and then in doing so, you find out that she freaking worked with pharmaceutical companies. The hope was to freaking help find this research and way to assist with cancer, but the information provided influenced her decision to divest from the company, and then using the information provided beforehand by another partner within the company, Samuel Waxall, to literally influence her decision to divest. Stewart and Waxall were both fined and had to face the backlash and freaking grunt up the law by violating insider trading practices, which is in itself just something that we kind of always have to set the basis for being mindful of. Don't freaking take part in illegal activities, and always be mindful of the aspects that can reflect upon you later in the future in doing so. Alright, you guys, so that's going to conclude it, and we did finish in under an hour and 20 minutes. So, kudos to us. That is, 10 minutes shorter than expected. I am like super stoked for Christmas, you guys. I hope you guys are also. My freaking mini Christmas tree is set to freaking arrive a tad later. I was going to grab this Grinch inspired one at the freaking local Stater Brothers, and then I freaking ended up getting to the like cash out freaking area, or the like checkout area, and there was a freaking sale on cheese, and it was like a freaking like buy two get one free. So I like referred by the cashier to like grab an extra one, and then in doing so, it'll be like added because it's a freaking like two, no, three for the price of two kind of thing. I was like, oh, that's freaking super awesome. And then I was like, oh, and also I would like that tree that I set up there. And when I got back to the freaking like checkout freaking area, I was hoping and expecting that the tree was already added to my freaking total, and the tree was not freaking added. So I was like, no freaking way. And then I got home and my mom was like, well, I just freaking got you like a tree like a few freaking hours ago, and it's gonna be freaking on its way to you. And I was like, no freaking way. And then I sent her like a picture and a video while I was in the store. And she was like, I literally just saw a tree that looked exactly like that at freaking work. And I was like, I like literally gotten the other one. And I was like, should I like return this one and then grab you that one instead? And I was like, no freaking way. And I was like, no, it's okay. Like, if you got me one that's like, because the freaking Grinch inspired trees, if you guys have seen them at your local Stater Brothers, your local pharmacies, let's see. Yeah, I believe, okay, so I believe they are at our local Stater Brothers, and our local CVS's. I stopped at a Walgreens like last week and I didn't see any there, so I'm gonna guess they are in the partnership freaking basis of Stater Brothers and Walgreens that are partnering with the brand to offer these really cute, adorable trees. But they are like literal, real trees, and they are like super freaking like they're like adorable, and they're like super freaking like they're like tiny, but they're like this freaking size, so they're like perfect as like a freaking like window decorator, as a table centerpiece, or as just like a freaking like cute little like adorable tree to just like have in the midst, just to like set the freaking Christmas below. There was just like there's this little like the tipping point. Remember when like the like when ornaments added, and then like the tree kind of like tipped the dad freaking bud, and then it's just I don't know. It kind of gave me like a mix of like freaking Grinch vibes and freaking Charlie Brown Christmas tree kind of vibes, and it was just super cute. But I was like, no, I'd much freaking rather love having the freaking trees that I can use for like years to come in the future. So I'm just super freaking excited and stoked. So it's going to get here later, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's gonna be freaking fun and just in time for Christmas. And so I hope you guys have an exceptional freaking Christmas and enjoy the rest of your holiday season. I know I freaking will. I will be kicking back with freaking Coco and Christmas movies. Trying to freaking update you guys on a whole bunch of super freaking fun stuff. I hope you guys have gotten a chance to check out the winter collection stuff, our fall and winter collection, and to see all the freaking great new products that we are offering to you guys this year, and to just enjoy your overall holiday freaking season and New Year. I will see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to check us out on social media. We are on Instagram, DKHLegalAid, X DKHLegalAid, and TikTok, DKH.legal.aid. Love you guys so much, and I'll talk to you guys later. Have a freaking awesome Christmas and a happy New Year.